Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Juliet, representing MQ Agency, and we're proud to partner with Nine as you take meaningful steps towards long-term reform. The crisis formally began in May 2023 when Nine appointed Elizabeth Bodrick & Co. to lead a cultural review in response to escalating internal complaints. Over 500 staff were interviewed across offices in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, with additional anonymous surveys and a full audit of Nine's HR and whistleblower systems conducted. When the final report was released in October 2024, it confirmed deep cultural failings, particularly within the Today Show and 60 Minutes broadcast teams. Many staff feared reporting misconduct, not just because of stigma, but because there were no consequences for high-profile offenders. The report described a protection network whereby senior individuals were shielded by informal power structures and a people and culture team perceived as aligned with management rather than employee well-being. Now, Nine accepted all 22 report recommendations and quickly established a change implementation office. The media reaction, though, was swift and unsparing. The Guardian reported that abuse of power had become normalised, while ABC News criticised the absence of a CEO-led apology. Crikey quoted staff calling the response corporate speak, light on real change. On X, the hashtag 9New became a flashpoint with resurfaced claims and industry voices questioning whether Nine had truly changed. Now let's take a look at what was done well. Nine's decision to commission Bodrick & Co. before any media expose positioned the company within the stealing thunder model of crisis strategy. Getting ahead of the narrative earned early credibility, particularly with internal stakeholders. Additionally, the creation of a change implementation office reflected what Gorfinkel describes as a governance-led approach, giving reform operational structure and executive accountability. However, several key failures in communication were evident. First, leadership visibility. There was no press conference, no apology, and no direct video address. Executives declined media interviews at a moment where visibility was critical. Second, narrative control. Articles described the tone of Nine's public statement as PR speak, suggesting technical compliance without emotional ownership. According to Discourse of Renewal theory, stakeholders look for value-led storytelling, not just procedure. Third, audience segmentation failure. Younger, digitally native audiences, many of whom access media through Instagram and TikTok, received no tailored messaging. This contradicts networked crisis communication theory, which emphasizes platform-appropriate messaging for different audience ecosystems. In short, Nine's internal action was strong, but the external translation was weak. Now, Nine can draw powerful insights from the ABC leadership crisis in 2018. Both organizations took early internal action. However, where they diverged is public positioning. ABC's chair was visible within 24 hours. Nine, on the other hand, remained quiet with no media-facing executive presence. But recovery-wise, let's start where every crisis is either diffused or denoted, internally. Now, a culture custodian in residence could be an amazing rotating staff elected role that sits in our board meetings with the authority to publish quarterly reform updates. Now, the playback room could be once a quarter staff anonymously submit lived moments from inside the newsroom. These are reenacted by actors or even voice AI in a closed leadership session. Now, onboarding retrospect. At the 3-month mark, every new hire sits down and they share how trust and culture feel in the office. But let's talk about external trust. Firstly, a cultural mileage tracker. This could be like Nine's ethical Fitbit, a live banner showing real-time reform updates, what's progressing, what's delayed, and what's next. It's based on risk signal transparency, one of Kim's key prevention principles, because what gets measured is what gets trusted. Nine Forward Fellowships, partnering with universities and advocacy groups, this initiative places emerging Indigenous, Clad and LGBTQIA+ talent directly into editorial teams. This is cultural capacity building, a proactive trust strategy. Now, a guest editorial takeover where once a quarter Nine hands over the reins of a digital channel to a grassroots media group. Think Indigenous X, Black Business or Women's Agenda. Now, this shows engagement in action by giving up control and not tightening it. But I have to thank you for your time and trust today. Thank you, Nine. You'll receive a summary of our recommendations, and I encourage your leadership team to reflect, question, and adapt as needed. Thank you.